Hey, welcome back to Bob's Barn Workshop, friends and family, fans and subscribers. It's glad to see you back. I promised you this video. We tore that engine out of the Mustang back a month or so ago, and I told you I would show you the teardown. Now, I need to strip it to the bare block today. Everything. Pistons, crank, the whole banana. And because I'm going to have this overboard and turned into a 347 stroker. I'm not sure if I'm going to reuse the same heads, which won't utilize all the power of the stroker, but I will utilize some of the torque that way. If I buy brand new heads, that's going to be like $2,000. Then I'm going to have to do all the valves and rockers probably, and new manifold, and it's just going to end up being many, many more thousands. And we're not really looking for a race car. We just want some drivability. So I'm going to start tearing this down. I'm going to give you this view because I'm going to take the rockers off first. Anyway, I'm going to label everything as I take it apart so that if I need to put it back together, they will be in exactly the same place. Alright, I'll go get ready and we'll get started. I'm going to start with the rockers, I guess. And that should be pretty easy. I've got my Sharpie here. What I'm going to do is, on a Mustang engine, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to have to do like, 5-1, 5-2, 5-1, 5 or 6-1, 6-2 is how I'm going to manage to do that. And these have set screws in them to keep them from tightening, but once you loosen them, wow, I did this engine 17 years ago, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with these aluminum roller rockers. Roller tip, roller bearing here, reduces friction. I don't think this lock nut makes any difference, but I guess I'll put it right back on the stud for now. So let's see, where's a good place to write on this? I got my Sharpie, so this will be 5, 1. Alright, I'm going to start throwing these in a plastic bag, keep them clean. Of course, we'll wash them all in the parts washer before we put it back together. And I've got to do the same thing with the push rods. Now, I brought some blue tape out here, and they're pretty oily, so I'm going to have to clean these off. And let me find a rag. I'm going to use the same scheme, 5-1, 5-2 for these. And I'll put the tag on the top like so. And that seems stuck pretty good. 5-1. Alright. And this is how we're going to separate these out. Those, I believe, are ARP studs. And what I'll do is I'll fast forward this when I get to this. Manifold's all coming out anyway. I'm going to zip these all off. Well, I got my comp cams adjustable spacers because I tried the fixed design and they weren't spaced properly. I gotta put my pen up here where I can find it. So this will be 5.2. And I don't think this is critical either, because they have their own trunnion bearings. Oh, look at that. That's just as smooth. Rollers. Look at that. There's friction free, so reduces engine friction, gives you a couple more horsepower. Push rod. I think they're pretty clean. You can see a little bit of the wear mark from the spacer in there that holds the top of the rod. These things were hardened rods too. I don't know they'll be the right length for the right ARP heads that I get. I might have to buy different push rods, but in the event I don't, I want them. So this will be 5.2 and so on. All right. I won't talk anymore because we're just going to rip these out of here now. We'll speed it up when the time comes. Six, one. I could be writing exhaust or intake, but I don't know which is which easily. So just going front to back like this works for me. Tape. I got the tape. So I had never torn down a car engine until I did this engine back in '04. All right, we're back. The SD card was full. Had to go erase some files. The next thing is to get off the water neck here. And of course, I bought a cooling one, so I gained a couple horsepower doing that, you know. And I think I'm going to try to leave this bypass tube right on here for the heater. Now I have that has like a rubber O-ring around there. And of course you want this side with the spring to go towards the hot side, because that's where the hot water is, right? Just a little FYI there. Okay, into a bag. Damn. And I could, you know, I don't have my small impact here. I prefer not to, I'm going to get the bolts. I got a smaller set of bags. Sorry, I'm in front of you again. I bag everything in Ziplocs to do with the other parts. And I'll have to find those. So I start my label. You know what I'm going to do though? I'm just going to crack all of these. I'm going to get my zippy tool because they're long. And I know there's a very complex sequence of events that you have to do and take them out or tighten them down, but right now we're just taking them out. This is an old classic performer that my neighbor across the street from here gave to me years ago. Donated it to a cause. We'll try tunking on this if we can get a place to tunk it. Ain't she tight? Boy, I did a good job on those china walls, which is the little ridge between the front and back of the valley where they have a tendency to want to leak. What if I pry right there? You gonna let me? Oh, there she comes. I heard it go whoosh, makes that noise. Yeah, that china wall glue. I used ultra. No, I used the blue. But it did not leak. Oh man, this engine is so clean. I did a good job on this. You know that? Okay. I had a temperature gauge sensor in the front, and I got one in the back. Because I got two gauges. I got the regular one in the dash, and I've got the original one in the dash, and I've got the aftermarket, you know, the little triple gauge set you typically see. But this is an aluminum manifold, good old Edelbrock performer from the 60s. Fits a 289, 302. You wanted to see me pull this head off, didn't you? Alright, where's the beast? I don't need this torque, I don't think, but these were torqued pretty heavily. I think I'm going to leave the top ones in. Crack them right now. I'm pretty sure we've got long bolts in the top and shorter ones in the bottom. Yeah. You can leave that center one in there just in case this thing decides to take a hike or something. I don't know how much fun that's going to be if it takes off for the parts unknown. I guess I could have rotated this a little bit. I got my pry bar right here. I'm going to put my hip up against it. I'm going to pry someplace where it don't matter. There we go. Let me zoom out. And off she comes. I just dumped coolant. Now look at how clean those cylinders are after 17 years. I had this car tuned pretty perfectly. I can't believe the good old 4-inch Ford 4-inch cylinders. We're just going to zip this boy right off. All right. I got the part number I can see from the head gasket here. Let me get that in my bolts. I dumped a whole shitload of a bunch of oil or coolant into the cylinders. See, I had a rod knock and I couldn't get rid of it. That's why we're tearing this down and rebuilding it. And the guy said, hey, just as easy to make it a stroker. Label everything. Now I can pick the lifters right out. I have a special little tool for doing such. And I've got to label them the same. And I'm hoping, you know what? I will just bag them individually. Because they're going to be too oily to get tape to stick. Come on, baby. Oh, there she goes. Push that water out. Yeah, that's the efficient way to do it. Gosh, those cylinders, I can still see crosshatch in them. Too bad. These are the original pistons in the original rods, and that's where I'm getting my knock. I think. I don't know, I had a knock. And let's take the water pump off. Now there's been so much wind, I'm going to put you over this away. And that looks like 1/2 inch again. Well, that would be 5/8. I had one of these holes that was stripped. And I think it was that one that went with the bracket. So the beauty of it is it's a through hole. So I can just put a nut on the back side of this hole that's stripped. Just use a slightly longer bolt. I gotta clean my hands. There's what I'm looking for. Of course, this is gonna make a mess too. Or 3. 2 or 3. And these have all different length bolts in here, I think. Makes them a real pain in the butt this way. And I may just reuse this water pump. And I gotta get, oh, I've got a harmonic balancer puller. This one, the rubber's cracked. The wubba. Does that look like NASA stinks? This is the fuel pump. It is indeed a 9/16. I may put an electric fuel pump, so I might not even use this at all. Well, how the hell did I tighten that up? A wobble. I must have used a short socket and a wobble. Let's get that impact resistant too, you know. These ones are tight. All right, there's the pulley. And I'll try to get right in your way as best as I can. We got to get that dog off. So we need to get the big nut off first. Alright. I'm sure this is stuck on there good. But yeah, see, they leave you a hole for your puller. So we screw that in a lot of threads. So we know we got a good bite in there. We're not going to screw up those threads. And then we find our puller bolts. Got some motor oil left over here. Point. We'll leave up that small Earl. And it goes just like that, boys. tension right out. Nice to have the right tool. I'm going to zoom you right in. Watch that easing itself out. So I think, no, I gotta wait. Job is done. Now there's a seal in there that's going to have to be changed. All right. Love it when a crank comes. That was only like a $17 tool. We're on the fuel pump again. And it says my battery's down to 6 minutes. I did find a wobble that fits it. So let's get it out of there while we can. And that just rides on a cam, on the camshaft, and pumps it just like a pitcher pump diaphragm in here. So the progress marches on. We have to remove the, I guess this is one piece, so I guess this is called the timing cover. And that has a bunch of 1/2-inch bolts in it. A couple up at the top here. I don't know how you'd ever torque these. I'm going to reuse the timing chain maybe. It's a good Cleveite double row. This engine was never, drag raced or anything to put tremendous stress on it. So we got to take these. Oh, I think the ones by the these are bigger. One size bigger. Yep. Well, let's get the 1/4-inch ones out. I did stainless on these too. I researched all the sizes. And it's a lot of work to tear this engine down, put it back together. I'm having my machinist drop the crank in and the pistons and the rods, yes, because he's got the measurement tools and the appropriate know-how to do that. So I'm letting the experts do that. I'm going to put an aluminum oil pan on it if I can. These are loosened up over there. I'm going to use one of those one-piece rubber oil pan gaskets too. They're a lot better, easier than. Oh, I just spied another bolt in that too. It's right up in there. And I get it to this without taking it apart. It'd be nice if I could. obviously, if you want to torque these, I'd have to take this pointer off. Don't let me forget to pull the lifters. Got a bag all done. Come on, baby. Up. Okay, there we go. Now, there should be. There's the fuel pump drive. There's a seal on the front of this that's going to have to change, which I have, extras. I don't know, is that the right tightness? It seems pretty good. I mean, it's got a little slack, but is that a 9/16 on the front of that? I bet you it is. These? Oh, there's the camshaft. I'm so excited. I'm hoping I got the know-how to get this all back together. Now we got to pull. Gotta put this in name it timing cover. A while back, I bought me this snazzy little lifter puller tool. What it does is it goes inside the lifter here, and when you push it flares out and grabs it. So we're going to see if I can get it to work. Look at that, there's cylinder one coming right out. There's my lifter. That doesn't have any wear on it. Look at that. These babies just fill up with oil. Okay, there's one. So I'm just going to do them all. You don't need to watch it all. Okay, maybe I'll let you watch, she said. I just did 2-1. Now we're up to 2-2. 2-2. Alright, well, it's time to flip the motor and dump oil all over the floor. Again. And to do so, that bolt I just dropped in there to pin it. I need to have something like a jack handle. It's too long. Ain't that special. Holy hell. Alright, here we go a little farther. I thought all this would have run out, but apparently it didn't. Alright. You know what? Sweet, huh? Good. Even the sockets were good. The screwdrivers were like lead, but the sockets were good. Well, it already says driver on the bottom of it. Alright. That's just a quick 5/8 socket job. Passenger on the other. So I don't know if you guys heard that whole conversation, but my granddaughter pulled in with her car and said it's making a funny noise. This is a 3/8 socket extension, and you can see the groove in it. It was laying against the bottom pulley on the serpentine belt, bouncing against it. Easy fix. Now I have a very delicate operation. I need to pull that camshaft without damaging it. And I'm going to use caution. These are hardened bolts, originals, because I see they have like the X cut on the top of them. I believe they have like a three-bladed cross basically across the top. Let me get a bag for these. I ran out of the little bags. I'm using up the big ones that don't matter as long as they're in the bag. Okay. Oh, there's where see there's a hole here and there's a hole there. And the pressurized oil squirts right into that bearing journal. Alright. So there's not much else to this I can do but slide it out carefully. That usually helps to screw a big bolt into the end of that. I know where I can get one. I don't know if this is the right diameter. Nope, bigger. So we'll go with this guy. And I bet you he fits right in there. That's from my puller set. Got to give it a little lift. I'm probably pulling the bearings out. These cams look fabulous. I'm looking at every lobe here. Tip, and it has the same kind of wear, but the tip doesn't have like any flat spots. Comes up and around, up and around. Now this is a Cleveite moderate street cam. I will take this to my machinist and have him look it over just in case. So I'm going to turn this over and try to get this knuckle out of there. We're almost done other than pulling the crank. So let's just bada boom bada bang. Nice deal there. So pickup and all is coming off. I think that's a 9/16, which it is. If I can find it. I want it nice and tight because, of course, you don't want any bolts falling loose into the bottom of your motor, your engine, do we? That could be catatonic, catastrophic. Everything in this engine is so clean, there's no reason to change this oil pump either. Just no reason. Okay, the gasket came with. Alright. Now what do we need to do? We need to pull off all of these guys right here. And seeing that I'm not reusing any of this stuff, I'm just going to rip them off. Come on, get out of there. These are the rod cap bolts. I'm going to put these, I probably don't need these. They're rod cap nuts. I don't know if I can get down in there and get that one. I'm going to have to rotate. See how these opposing pistons have the same crank journal? So that piston, like piston 1 and, yes, that would be 1 and 5 are on the same journal. And 2 and 6, and 3 and 7, and 4 and 8 are on the same journal. I'm back to 4 and 8, and they're way at the bottom. So I'm just going to go around the front here. This is going to be all bored, so you don't have to worry about damaging anything. There's no washers on these. I can't get that one. I'm going to have to figure out how to rotate this baby. Oh, there wasn't a nut down in there. It's a ½ inch. Maybe I can put a wobble on it. It fell right into the top of the piston. I dropped it. Oh no. I'm not going to be reusing these anyway. I'm pretty darn positive. I don't want to rotate this bitch. Oh, there's a hole drilled right there. I can put an extension or something down into it. You don't get that? Wrecking bar. One of the counterbalancing holes where she was drilled to oil pump drive. Now I've jammed it up, haven't I? By doing that. Okay, well let's pull the pistons out. How are we going to do that? I'm not using them again, so pull the piston caps off. The rod caps, gosh, the bearings look good. The knock was coming from the back. That rod bearing looks perfect. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, well, there that goes. I put my thigh against this one. As soon as the ring's clear, she pops. And I'm trying not to gouge up the... Oh, couldn't get that one out. There we go. Right against my thigh. That's a good way to do it. That way the rod doesn't. See if I can move it down. Which way do I want it to go? I want it to go up first. She moves a lot easier. Let's see. She's oily. This engine looks perfect. I hope I'm not rebuilding this for nothing. Which, it's too late now. Rod nuts. Daddy! They balance these too by grinding a little bit of metal off in each one of the pistons and rod caps. So if you've ever heard somebody talk about getting their engine balanced, it's literally what they're doing. These are the straight that come, she said. Oh, the rod cap fell down in there. Of course, she won't come out. He's going to have to cut some clearances in this for the stroker engine. Or the stroker, you know, machining. I just don't know. Now, knock that around. See, that one right there is loose. That little bit right there is the knock. I'm going to find something bad with that piston. I always thought it was the, you know, the back of the engine. Let me see here. Of course, that was come apart now, so. The machine has said that these things will stretch. Yep. See the wear on that? This whole tear down is done for. Oh, there's a lifter. How do we use a lifter? I had them all. Oh my God. That lifter behind there, that sucks. Got them all labeled. This can't be left over from the original, can it? Everything looks fine. I'm going to have to check the numbers on all the other ones to see if I got 16 of them. See if somehow that got left in the engine? No. That's impossible. And the next thing is lifting the crank out and we're done. Yeah, that bearing, these rear bearings are smoked. Alright. Pull off the old quart gasket. Once the crank comes, she's disassembled. He's right at the back door. I found a bad bearing in here.
Is that what it is?
lot of rod bearings. You can see it was like cooked. The front ones look really perfectly smooth, look like they've never been worn. Go to the back and you can see that they were like blackened. And the last rod, before I took it apart, you could hear it clunk a little, just a little, you know, which just tapping them with the wrench to knock them loose. Make sure to lift it up. This one was glued with a lot of RTV, as is appropriate. That would be called the rear main seal. If you hear somebody talk about a leaking rear main seal, it's this rubber gasket that goes around the crankshaft. And I'm going to put the rod caps back on because I think I need to. I think if he's going to put the crank in for me, he's going to need the main caps. So as soon as I lift the crank out, I'm going to set it right on the box. I can't believe how nice the inside of this engine looks. I'm going to pick out those bearings. I just need a little picker thing. There's a little bit of a notch right there where you can get in there and lift them out. And they're scrap. Notice there's holes in these journal areas where, of course, the oil pressure gets pumped through all the galleys, through all the galleys inside the engine. Like my main seal is spun or something. I'll let the machinist deal with that. Okay. Now we're getting very close, guys and gals. I hope I got some gals watching, you know. It's getting dark, that's why it's getting dark. I'm just going to set these back on, tighten them up. I'm going to flip it over and see if I can get that thing off in there for the shifter, for the Z bar, the equalizer bar they actually call it. There's another part of the rear main seal. Let's get the bearings out of this. It's less work for the machinist, it's less work, less money for the guy you have to pay, right? So, and these are labeled. There's one. Oh, I forgot to take this bearing out. I don't know if he's going to replace the freeze plugs. Those are those brass things you see all over the engine. Here, here, here. There's some other places. I think that's one. Which one is it? That's 4. That's the last one. This is the center one because this has got the thrust bearings in it. This is where the engine shaft pushes back and forth when you got a clutch. It takes the force of the clutch pushing in on the end of your crankshaft. So it's called the thrust bearing because it takes, bearings are normally designed to take thrust pushing in on them, and that's what that pushing does. It's got material on both sides. As you see, it was over the edges. And that's what gives you the end play, they call it, to the crankshaft. She's oily. She was well oiled. Alright, well, I'm an oily mess. This stuff is junk. I got a lot of cleaning up to do. So that's it, guys. She's stripped. She's ready for the machine shop. I'm going to spin it over again. And see if I can get a better leverage on that. Oh, there comes that bearing and nut I was missing. And find out where my damn, where that darn I did it. I can sell this, see, as a kit to somebody who wants to have the original equalizer bar type clutch. They still have that. I have the linkage and everything. Well, I don't know. I have to fill it. And now I gotta clean up this mess and get out of here for the evening, guys. Thanks for watching. Of course, the next video on this beast you will see will be the reassembly. When I get it back, it'll look just like it does now, except it'll have the pistons and the crank and maybe I'll have them put the camshaft back in. And then I'll have to reassemble all this the way it took off. You know, new gaskets, torque and everything to the right torque cube. I couldn't get this out, but I don't think it matters. It won't be in the way. That's just an extension for the oil pressure sensor. And I've actually got a T I screw on there, so I've got two oil pressure sensors. One for the original and one for the small gauge set that I bought was put in there. Alright. Oh, there's the paper towels right there. Good. So clean up this mess. We'll catch you later, guys. Take care, God bless, and hopefully I can get this turned into a beast of a machine. I'm going to be running the original manifold, though, I think, the Edelbrock, because of hood clearance. I don't want to cut a hole in my hood. Okay, guys and gals. It's been a blast. Take care. God bless.